Welcome back to Nuts on Cars. So here at James Nut Cars, we currently have a BMW i8 in stock. So I thought it'd be a great opportunity to create a video for the channel. Now, the question I want to really ask in this video is, should you buy a used BMW i8? Now, these are nearly 10 years old, but I think you'll agree they are incredible value for money, an amazing package, and to look at, they're like nothing else really. So what do you get for your money? Now, this particular car is currently up for $36,995. It's a 2014 and it's done 35,000 miles. So as I say, for the looks and the package that you get, I don't think you can kind of beat it. So as I say, what do you get for your money? Now, it's actually a 1.5 mini engine, which drives the rear wheels, and now that creates 230 horsepower. So they've done some fancy stuff to the internals, bigger turbocharger, and it's actually the most powerful BMW engine per litre that's ever been made. So it's quite an impressive bit of kit. So that drives the rear wheels, and then you've got a battery that drives the front two wheels. So altogether, you've got 360 horsepower as a plug-in hybrid. So it's not groundbreaking in terms of its power and speed. At the time, it was £104,000 for this particular car, and you could probably have a 911 for about 70,000. So it didn't represent great value for money in terms of power and as a package for just purely speed and dynamics. So the best bit for me is the design. The way it looks is like nothing else. Now, as I say, these are nearly 10 years old, which to me is mind-blowing, because if these rolled off the production line today, you wouldn't question it. It was so futuristic at the time that it actually has aged extremely well. So it's just when you see them in the flesh, and you don't see many about, but you just see the little design cues that you don't see in the pictures. It's things like the carbon tub that you can see from the outside, the aerodynamic little bits. When you're looking through the rearview mirror, you see the little tunnel here for the wind to go through. So it really is something special. I mean, they went quite far with things like weight saving. It was the first car to ever have Gorilla Glass introduced, which is what you now see in the likes of a Porsche 911 GT3 RS. And then it wasn't about outright performance. They did things like the quite skinny wheels on the back for efficiency. And so altogether, it actually weighs about the same as 911, but it's a big thing. And with the battery and everything, I think they've done a pretty good job. So yeah, another thing whilst I'm here that really sets it apart is the butterfly doors. And then I just think, the car gets the most ridiculous amount of attention I've ever, any car I've driven. And then you pull up somewhere and you open your door and it's like, it's totally over the top and it is impractical, but it just creates that sense of something special, which I think it is. So when you open the door, you get to then see that carbon tub, and obviously you've got the high sill, which does make it particularly tricky to get in and out, as I will demonstrate. So what I think I've figured is that bum first is the easiest route, and then you slide your legs in from there. So it's not the easiest. I mean, that's not too bad, but getting out's a little bit more tricky. And so, yeah, it's that sense of occasion when you've got the door up here and you're sliding in bum first, that just sets it apart from anything else. And as I say, the point I want to get across is, at this price point, where do you get that sort of ownership from? So we'll have a little chat about the interior, about what's it like in here. So interior wise, it's a very nice place to be, and it is very BMW. It's not quite as wacky as it is on the outside, so when you spend a bit of time in here, you actually do feel like you're in a bit of a normal car until you either look out the mirror or get back out and see what you've been driving. So spec-wise, they're very spec'd up standard anyway, so you get the likes of sensors, nav, heated seats, cruise control, cameras. So there's not a huge amount that you actually needed to add to them. This particular car has got Harman Kardon, which I think was an essential option because it is a very, very good sound system, and it kind of goes with the package really, to be listening to a good sound system on the move. And then it's got the Interior World Halo, which is actually a dark brown, but you've got lots of leather, you've got leather dash, so it does feel like an expensive place to be. Couple of criticisms really is when you do get in and out, these plastic sills, which I've I've had a couple of these. It was exactly the same in the other one. They do just creak a little bit, so that, and you do catch them every time you're getting in and out, so you do feel that could have been a little bit sort of better built. And the seating position is just a little bit high. You kind of sat on it rather than in it, which is a little bit of a shame, but you get used to that pretty quickly. So yeah, it's a lovely place to be, and again, for 10 years old, it still looks fresh. It doesn't feel dated, and everything is pretty much very well built. So yeah, big thumbs up again for the interior. So what we're going to do, we'll go for a drive and see what it's like on the open road. So what's it like to drive a BMW i8? Now, there's 3 different driving modes you've got in these. So when you start the car, every time it will just put itself into comfort mode, which is a mix of flicking between fully electric and then firing up the combustion engine, depending on how hard you press the throttle, basically. So I find I've just been using, I've done about 500 miles in it, and I've mostly just used it in comfort mode because it's just the easiest. And as you can hear at the moment, it's pretty silent and it's very economical. So you've then got Eco Pro, which will just run purely on electric mode, and the claim figures are about 20 miles on electric mode, but realistically, again, as I say, I've had a couple of them, they're going to do about 14 once you've got them fully charged, and they seem to go down reasonably quick in just electric mode, again depending on the temperature and how you drive it. So, and then you've got sport mode. So to get yourself into sport mode, you push the gear lever over, and then the engine is fully there, as well as the battery, so they work in conjunction to give you the most power. So you've got all the 360 horsepower. So there is also a tiny other little battery which will sometimes then give another 20 horsepower. Yeah, that comes into play if and when it decides to. So as I say, to drive in normal mode, in comfort, you see a few of these for sale with hundreds of thousands of miles on, because they are so usable and so comfortable. It's so quiet, it's relaxing, it's a nice place to be, and you don't actually get fed up of driving it like you do some sports cars. So you can, I believe, really use it as a daily, and other than the getting in and out and the impractical doors and the lack of space, it really is a good day-to-day car. Then when you do want to put it into your sport mode, it does really wake up, and you've got that synthesized fake noise which is actually pumped through the speakers, and it really does shift when you open it up. And a lot of people moan about the noise, obviously with it being fake, but I think it actually sounds really nice. It sounds like a V8 to me. I know that probably sounds over the top for a fake noise that comes through the speakers, but it really does. So yeah, I'm actually a big fan of the noise, and I can easily live with it. So yeah, and when it comes to the bends and dynamically, it's, as I say, a 911 will run rings about it. This car was never designed to break Nürburgring records. And so you've got those skinny tyres, and you haven't got a big screaming V10 behind you or anything like that. So it's really pleasurable to drive quick, and the way it delivers the power with the battery is like nothing else really. It just keeps shoving you with that torque. So yeah, it's not a die-hard driver's car. If you are looking for one of those, this is not the car for you. You need to go out there and buy something a bit more hardcore. But if you want to use it regularly and open up the taps here and there, then it really is a proper car to drive. It's sharp, it's responsive. You really feel the rigidity of the carbon tub. And so yeah, you can properly chuck it around, and it wants to play. So other side of things, if you do want to be sensible and you're doing a load of miles, this car is genuinely not bad to run. I've, as I say, done about 500 miles and averaged 44 to the gallon, which for the type of car it is, again, I have been keeping it topped up charge-wise, but I think that's pretty impressive really for the power it's got and its drivability. But at the end of the day, it is a 3-cylinder mini engine, so I suppose that's where the running costs come from. hopefully you can kind of get the idea of the noise through the speakers, but yeah, it's very, very pleasurable. It's not a Porsche, it's not a Ferrari, it's not a supercar, but it's a very enjoyable sports car. So yeah, big thumbs up on the drive. And just going back to when you've got it in sport mode, as I say, you get 14 miles claimed range on Just Eco. If you do want to top that up in sport mode, it will actually start charging itself, and you can get that back up to, I've had it up to sort of 9-10 miles off doing that. So if you can't be bothered to charge it, then there is a second option for you. It never gets easier to get in and out, unfortunately. But yeah, there we have it. Hopefully that's given you an idea of if you're in the market for a BMW i8, should you or shouldn't you buy one? In my eyes, for circa £35,000 to £40,000, depending on age and mileage, I think it has to be the best value for money sports car out there. Purely really just for the way it looks. As I say, I've not seen a car get so much positive attention before it out of anything I've ever driven. And it's not ridiculous money to run. Things, as I said, like fuel economy is good, there's no road tax, servicing's every 2 years. I've just had a major service done on this, which was £530. So for £250 a year in maintenance, the only really sort of more expensive thing is tyres, which are about £200 to £250 each. But yeah, it's not a supercar, it's not a hardcore dynamic driving experience, but it's a very pleasant experience, and it feels like a special occasion every time you drive it. And it really is a usable daily sports car. So depending on when you watch this video, you can come and buy this one from James Nutt Cars, or I imagine by the time you're watching it, hopefully it is sold. But yeah, get yourself out there and get yourself a used BMW i8. Thank you for watching. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video, and subscribe if you want to see some more. See you soon.